everybody, thank you so much for tuning in once again. My name is Joanna M. Cameron. I'm a mental health therapist and a life coach, and I'm bringing you mental health tips and life coaching tools that can help you navigate through your everyday life. Did you know that 70% of Americans have experienced trauma at one point or another in their life? You may have actually experienced a trauma in your life, and you may not even realize how it's actually manifesting in your physical body right now. So I'm going to give you about 4 different things to look for to identify if maybe these are some outward symptoms of a trauma that you've experienced that you may be repressing. Before we get started, I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to hit the like button and ring the bell so that you can stay up on all the videos that I have coming out to you each and every week. And if you like something that I say or you agree with something, please leave comments below and let me know exactly what you're thinking. All right, so like I said, 70% of Americans have experienced a trauma or a traumatic experience at some point in their life. That is millions and millions of people. So if that is you, number one, I want you to understand that going through a traumatic experience in no way makes you a weak person by identifying that or by addressing it or by actually allowing yourself to heal from that. And then I also want you to understand that it is so necessary to really identify what that traumatic experience is for you. And then what happens when we kind of just go over it as if it never happened in our lives, it tries to manifest itself in different ways through maybe one or all of these symptoms that I'm about to share with you. So that first thing that can happen if we have gone through a trauma and we don't address that trauma and we kind of repress it is our body stays in a constant state of fight or flight. And it can cause you to feel on edge, it can cause you to feel uneasy, and then we're taking it out on people, or we're kind of watching our backs all the time and unable to relax. So there's, different ways that when you're in that constant state of fight or flight that it can release itself or try to release itself in a negative way. And that is not a feeling that you want to constantly be in. You don't want to feel like you always have to run and hide in a specific situation. You want to be able to relax. And because you've experienced a trauma that you haven't really addressed, you never really know what's coming or who's coming towards you or who's coming at you or bringing something to you. And that stress plays itself out in a lot of different ways on a lot of different people sometimes. So that's number one. And then number 2, we can experience chronic fatigue. And you'll go to the doctor because you don't know why you're so tired, and you're thinking it could be your iron levels. You're thinking that I must have low iron and that's why I'm so tired all the time. And really it could just be another manifestation of a trauma that you are actually holding on to that you're not allowing your mind to process. And if you're in a constant state of fight or flight where your adrenaline's constantly going and that cortisol level is on the rise, then that's going to eventually cause your body to crash and burn, and you're going to feel the fatigue of that because your body is not meant to stay in a constant state of fight or flight. That is a reaction that the body has, that it happens in spurts. But when you're in that constant state all the time because of the traumatic experience you've experienced and you're unable to relax or bring your mind down to a certain level of calmness on a regular basis, then it can become super draining and you'll feel tired. That's one thing that you want to consider. If you're constantly tired or you're constantly fatigued, you want to consider if maybe your body is going through that fight or flight response as a result of a trauma. So the third one is chronic pain. I'm sure you know of somebody who's always complaining about an ache in their body somewhere, whether it be in their shoulders or their back or their neck. And you're looking at them thinking, you seem to be perfectly healthy, and on the outside anyway, but they're constantly in pain. And then not only that, they can't tell you why they're in pain. And that may be you. So if you have constant chronic aches and pains on a regular basis where your shoulders are hurting or your neck is killing you or your back is always bothering you, and you've gone to the doctor and you can't seem to find any actual source of the ache or the pain, That too can be another symptom of holding on to unresolved trauma. So it's kind of like when you're putting stuff in a pressure cooker, but you're not allowing yourself to release any of the pressure from that pot in that pressure cooker. Eventually it's going to manifest itself in some type of way, which typically happens physically for our bodies, because we're holding that pressure inside and we've not yet allowed ourselves to release it in any way. So those past traumas and traumatic experiences that we've gone through, it's necessary to deal with those. And then there's those people who get migraine headaches on a regular basis. And there may be an actual cause for their migraine headaches and the headaches that they're getting all the time, but that also can be a symptom of unresolved trauma from your past. So I want you to understand that trauma is nothing to be ashamed of. If you've gone through a trauma, or if you witnessed a trauma, or you've been the victim of an actual traumatic experience, you need to understand that it's okay and you're not to blame. It's not your fault. And talking to someone about that trauma may be the answer to some of these different physical symptoms that your body is experiencing. A lot of times we don't think that our head has anything to do with our physical body, like what's going on in our minds. Like they're not interrelated, but they are very directly related. So what I want you to understand is that, when you go through a traumatic experience, sometimes those things happen early on in life. They happened when you were a child, and you may have actually repressed those memories because the experience was too traumatic for you to actually deal with. You can go to a therapist or speak to someone, a professional, who can help you to maybe get a little bit closer to identifying and addressing some of those issues, and allow yourself to go through the process of the healing of getting through that traumatic experience. Trauma is not one of my biggest areas and issues that I work with my clients, but I deal with people on a regular basis who suffer from anxiety and depression, and those tend to be directly related to the traumas that my clients have experienced in their lifetime. And it's not until we've actually gone through the therapy process and we've talked about different issues in their childhood to where they even realize that there was a connection to the anxiety and the depression that they're experiencing now from the experiences that were traumatic for them, that they kind of pushed way down below and didn't even think about until it comes up again. So again, if any of those things that I mentioned are some of the things that you're experiencing and you've not really thought about why, or you couldn't quite figure out why, between you and your doctor and everything that you Googled online, you've not been able to come up with a plausible cause of all these different symptoms, from the fight or flight response that you're constantly in, and the chronic fatigue, and then the aches and pains, and then the headaches. If any or all of those things are happening to you, maybe it's time to take a look at some of the traumas that maybe you've experienced in your life, and understand that it's okay to go through those experiences of allowing your body to move past it emotionally as well as physically. Don't just bury it and act as though it never happened, because then you don't allow yourself the ability to heal from it. The key thing you want to remember is, when you go, or if you ever go through a traumatic experience, allow your body to go through the process of releasing it in the moment. Don't hold on to it, because by holding on to it, eventually it's going to come out. Go through the process, whether it's to cry, to scream, to shout, to write about it, to talk about it. Allow yourself to go through that process. Don't brush it off. Don't just say you're okay. Live the experience in the moment. Deal with it in the moment. And if you don't have the opportunity, or the opportunity has passed you to live in that moment, allow yourself to go back to that moment and process the emotions that you have surrounding the trauma that you went through. Talk to somebody who's a professional who can help you go through it in a way that works for you. I hope you were able to get something from this video, and again, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. ring that bell so you can stay up on all the notifications. And I will see you again, same place next week. Bye for now.